Okay, beautiful people. Can you hear me? Yes? The usual check-in. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I haven't even looked at the chat properly yet. You know, as usual. Happy New Year to everybody that I haven't already said it to. Our guest is already in the, what do we call it? The green room waiting. We're gonna bring him in momentarily. Apple, can you confirm that you can hear me clearly? Yes? My youngster, please give my youngster a shout out. You can, yay. Okay, so let me turn on this camera. La 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 la. Hello, beautiful people. How are you guys doing? As usual, you know, I'm looking for my chapstick, trying to find my bottle of water. Had to turn on the fan. It is warm here. Those of you here in Toronto, it is spring. Like it is crazy how warm it is here. I'm loving it, but maybe the hoodie wasn't a good idea. So hopefully I won't have to do a wardrobe change. So today is Wednesday, January the 3rd. Happy New Year to anybody who I have not already said Happy New Year to. I'm wishing you guys all love, peace, wellness. Wellness is the word. Okay, I'm gonna hydrate and then I'm gonna say some hellos and then we're gonna bring the guest in. So while I'm hydrating, let me do this. Today's guest is J Wyze. I am so excited. I am so excited. Okay, so let me come back on the screen. So I'm going to say some quick hellos and bring the guest in officially, right? So who else do we have in here? Your Majesty Apple Blossom, thank you for being here. Karen Graham, thank you for being here. From downtown Canada, I believe you like to say. T.E. Dennis, please give T.E. Dennis a shout out. She will be streaming the Vibe Tribe here on Twitch and other platforms soon. Maya Youngster, 10 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. I'm still trying to get action on the YouTube. It's taking a little bit of a minute, but we will get there. Either way, all of you who are here, I am glad you are here. China Gal, Happy New Year. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. So, I'm scrolling. If I've missed your name, it's Flame the DJ. Yes, hello, 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 hello. Yes, wardrobe change. Yes, I said that. I said that. Okay, so without further ado, I want to bring in our guest. I have known J Wyze for a little bit more than a minute. He has a new song and album dropping soon, and I thought it was the most appropriate guest for me to bring to in conversation for the new year is somebody who is from my own home of Toronto. We'll learn more about his background, his journey. He is a poet, a spoken word, community activist, a father, an MC. I'm going to say that he is a jack of all trades, and he is humble, and he has definitely got a way of playing with words. So without further ado, let me introduce and bring into the room J Wyze. Hey.
Hello, good night. How you
Look
doing?
at you. How are you? How are you doing?
I put on my my distinguished sweater
Oh,
and my
okay.
glasses so that I
Oh,
look very
yes.
intelligent when I
Yes,
came
yes,
today. So I'm
yes.
trying
This
to
is
think,
good.
How
This
you
is
doing?
good. I'm good. I'm good. I thought I was going to get an afternoon nap. I'm still on vacation. I go back to work next week.
Okay,
And my
nice.
sleep is a mess. Like I'm going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning because I have nowhere to be. So the next couple of days, I am going to have to get myself retrained. But I am so glad that you are here.
Glad to be here.
So I don't know if you can see the chat, but if you are in StreamYards, which you are, along the side, you can see the comments, and the comments will come in from YouTube as well as Twitch. So predominantly the folks are usually here from Twitch. YouTube is slow, but I wanted to make sure that I gave you the link so your community wouldn't feel like they had to register on Twitch to catch this conversation. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that your phone buzzing or mine?
Yeah, it's mine. Somebody
It's
just
yours.
messaged me saying they're trying to see the thing. I'm gonna send them the StreamYard link right now.
No. The YouTube link.
Oh, the YouTube link?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you send them the StreamYard link, then they can potentially become a guest here. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Just send the YouTube link. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
the
do.
the YouTube link. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he just left us. So he will be back, I'm sure. So we'll wait for him to come back. In the meantime, while we're waiting for him to come back into the room, um, how's everybody doing? How's your new year been? He's back. There he is. There
Oh,
you
sorry
are.
about that. I didn't
Don't
realize that
worry.
when I tried to send them the link, it would boot me out. So I guess they're gonna have to
If you
wait.
need to, no, go ahead. So you can go ahead and send them a link. I will chat with the community and then you can pop back in and I'll bring you back in. No worries.
All right, I'll be
No
very
worries.
quick.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. So, how has everybody been doing? How's everybody been keeping? New Year's resolutions, do you do them? Let me get some other stuff out of the way. Where do I want to begin? So my youngster streams, TE Dennis streams. Anybody else that I missed? It's Flame the DJ. He's still here, but he never streams anymore because he's too busy being outside, apparently. We're going to be sitting down with J Wyze and having a conversation about his career. So I had this up earlier and I'm going to put it up again while we're waiting for him to come back in. So this is his album cover that is we're going to talk about the artistry about this because this is beautiful. It's scary depending on when you look at it, but it is beautiful. Oh, you're back. Welcome back. Welcome
Yes,
back. Welcome
ma'am.
back. So, normally when I have a guest here, I usually like to start with the easiest of easiest questions. And that is for you going to be the same. How did you get your name?
Okay. Actually, I got my name from the block. A friend of mine, um, his name is Rocket. They call him Rocket, and he just started calling me J Wise, and I get just stuck. Everybody started doing it. Yeah,
Now,
this,
as you've evolved, have you noticed that the name has really had any major significance?
um, I would say, well, what my dad said to me one time. He said, I was being probably not the wisest at the moment. He turned to me and he was like, "Listen, people call you J Wise. They don't call you J Foolish or J Mad. They call you J Wise for a reason." And then he just kind
Exactly.
of left it with me. You know what I mean? So
So
it
it
gained
stuck.
significance, I guess, when he said that. You know what I mean? Because then I knew I had to kind of represent a little bit. Whoops.
Yeah, well, that's what actually I thought that there was more behind the wise part because I've known you before I knew you, but you've always had a flow of intellect. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So I thought that that was the significance of the wise part.
I- yeah, I mean, I didn't give myself the name, so you know what I mean. I wasn't walking around thinking, "Hey, I'm very wise." You know what I'm saying? But I try to be wise in my movements and my steps. At least, at least try to carry myself in a way that people don't look at me and think, "Why does he call Jay wise?" You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. That totally makes sense. So you were I'm trying to figure out where I want to start with this because, as I said, this is not an interview. This is a conversation. And it
No
feels
doubt.
like we need to do a catch up conversation because it's been a minute since you and I have actually sat down and talked. Um,
For real.
so I'm going to jump into bits and pieces, but I want to say to the chat that's here, whether you're here on YouTube or you're here on Twitch, if you have any questions, just, ask in bold, exclamation mark, ask. And between myself and Apple Blossom, we'll try to catch the questions. And we're really just having a conversation. So if there's anything that you want to know, please dive in. So I'm going to try to see if I can catch, you sent me some words. And then I did my own where I called you, um, I said that you have a dynamic voice, you're a skilled wordsmith, you're a writer,
Appreciate that.
MC, a community activist, a hip hop artist in Canadian and the Caribbean music scene. So I didn't even get into the specifics of your history on radio. When I did my post, I wanted to give the opportunity for us to speak about that. But
Okay.
I want to even just go back further. So you're not born here in Toronto. Those of you who don't know, we're both Toronto, we're going to say somewhat natives, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been here a long time.
You've been here a long time. Your home is where originally
So I was
before you
born in
migrated here?
Antigua in the Caribbean.
You're born in Antigua and you
Yes, ma'am.
migrated here at what age?
I came here. I want to say 12 or 13.
Wow. So you're
Yeah,
already in your teens when you got here.
yeah, or
Yeah.
just going into them. And I
Yeah.
had lived in Bermuda for years as well before I
Wow.
came here.
Wow. Wow. Um, Jessian, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. We are in conversation with J Wyze and Tap the Soul. I'm your hostess, Tap the Soul, and our guest, J Wyze. Anybody who has any questions, just drop them in the chat and we'll address them. So, coming here as a teenager, when you look back now, um, did you see any struggles? Like, did you see it as a struggle adjusting from warm climate to winter? Like, you would have come here and eventually had that first winter. Bermuda didn't have winter either.
Yep.
Yeah, did you have that, mom, dad, why'd you bring me here? Can we go back? Kind of a thought?
Well, I came here to meet my dad. So my dad was living here, and
Okay.
you know, uh, so I basically came up to start living with him.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see it as a struggle at the time. I more saw it as like like a free up or like a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I kind of the first winter experience was basically I woke up one morning and there was snow outside, and I got really hyped. I thought, wow, no, it's cool. It looks so nice and stuff. And I ran out into it, and it was freezing. And I
Yeah.
ran back inside, and I thought, nope,
Nope,
not
not
for
for
me.
you. Not for
And
you.
since then, I've had a kind of, I like the snow because it's warmer when it snows. Winter time when the snow falls, it tends to be a little warmer than on those sunny, bright days, when it's like super cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate it for that. But other than that, I
Outside of
could live
that,
without.
yeah, yeah. I say it's pretty to look at. As if I don't have to drive in it, go grocery shopping in it, take the subway, transit in it,
Yeah,
it's
walking it,
pretty.
shovel it.
Yeah, yeah. No, the
Yeah,
shoveling. I did the shoveling for years, and I'm just like, I don't want to go back to that life. I'll take that non-driveway shoveling life. Just it's the better way for me, as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
quickly disillusioned with snow and winter, but other than that, what I mean. I didn't see it as coming here was more of a adventure for me and more of a like a chance to do something.
yeah. Did you ever think about moving back home?
Yeah, I didn't expect to live here long. I really
No.
didn't. I didn't expect that I would still be here at this big age, but you know, I'm here, and I don't think I want to retire in Toronto. I love Toronto, but I don't think I want to retire here either. So at some point, I would like to go somewhere warm. Maybe not necessarily back home, but somewhere
Yeah.
home.
I think for the West Indian culture, we all have that mentality. Like I remember my parents, ex Dino, welcome in, welcome in. I remember my parents sending the barrels back home. Like it was always a big thing, right? They're gonna build a house. There's property that we have out there, and that was
Okay.
always the idea that they wanted to take life, everything they built here, and eventually just go back. Um, and I think that is something that we have evolved from because the life is not necessarily as rosy as it seems back home in for a lot of the Western countries, Western Caribbean countries, especially.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely think that goes both ways because life here is not as rosy as it may seem when you're down there either. You know what I mean? So
No,
I think
no,
there's a lot of we all have an idealized picture of other places. You know what I mean? And life on the ground tends to be different.
that is true. I have folks that are just messaging, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm paying attention to you as well as ain't no bed of roses, apple blossom. Let me pin that because I think a lot of people get that misconception, right? Zoom News Network, which countries? I believe that is which countries would you consider retiring in, if not back in Antigua?
Um, yeah. See, this is a conversation I have all the time, and it fluctuates. It goes around. I'm not sure, but I know it would either be somewhere in the Caribbean or probably somewhere in West Africa. One of those two places.
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Have you ever
maybe
been
South
before?
America too, because very similar kind of
Yeah.
vibe and culture and energy. You know what I mean? But it would be somewhere in that kind of zone.
It's
Near the
that's
equator for
interesting.
sure. The-
Interesting. Have you ever been to any of those places before?
I've been to South America and I've been to a lot of islands in the Caribbean. I've never been to the continent as yet, so but I want to go badly.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
I know a lot of people who's been, and the report I always get is that they're surprised how similar it is. You know what I mean? There's lots of differences, and lots of things that, culturally they had to get used to. But the report I always get is that when they first arrive, they're just shocked by how similar and how familiar it feels, even
Yeah.
if it's not really.
Yeah. So life here in Toronto, you came here as a teenager. Um, Now I know bits and pieces of your path, so I'm going to pick and choose where I want to dive into. But at what point did you decide that it was music? Was it always music? Was it music before you came here? Um, at what point did you make that decision, like it's music for you and that's the path that you want to venture down?
Yeah, it would be in the first year that I was here. Um, a friend of mine and I, we were given this assignment in English class to write a poem. And so I don't remember writing the poem or what the poem was about, but I did it. And a friend of mine came to me after the class and was like, "Yo, you see that poem you did in class? If you could write that, you could write a rap." And I was like, "Okay." And meanwhile, my father is a musician. So I went home and I just thought about writing a rap. He kind of put the idea in my head, but after that, I just wanted to try doing that, and so I just started writing rhymes. And yeah, somewhere around then, I came up with a couple of terrible names for myself, and you know what I mean. Before I got the name J Wyze, somebody else gifted it to me to save me from myself. And
I'm curious, what were some of those other names?
I won't give you the worst one, but one of them that I look back on and I chuckle about was Slim J. That was one of my
Slim J.
Slim J. Every time I think about that, that sounds so stupid. But
Slim J. Yeah, yeah, it would have, I don't think it would have stuck very well. I think J Wise is it. So whoever named you that or gave you,
yeah,
coined you with that name, they definitely they knew what they were doing. They saw
big
it.
up Rocket.
Big
Shout
up
out Rocket.
Rocket. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And it's
Uh
actually
sh-
his brother. His
yeah.
brother Blacks is actually the person who first suggested that I could write a rhyme.
Really?
So big up both of the
Interesting.
brothers. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Interesting. Do you keep in touch with any of them today?
Yeah, yeah. Still my good friends.
Nice, 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 nice. Now, you chose the path of music. For those of you in the chat, I came across J Wise, Master Plan, Soul Controllers, 89.5. I think you're probably one of the first folks that dropped my name that I was using back then on a CD, and I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get to the end of the CD to hear you say my name. It was just like, you have a really skilled way on a microphone. Is that just a natural talent, or is that something that you trained into and trained for?
I want to say both. I want to say both. Yeah, I mean, I saw a saying the other day. I think it applies. It says, "Talent is the floor, and discipline determines the ceiling."
Nice.
You know what I mean? So I think I would say both. Like um, I always had a kind of gift for just putting words across and being in front of on stage and performing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work and discipline over the years. A lot of looking back at stuff and seeing what I did wrong, and a lot of instructions from people who knew better than me, were more experienced than me. So I would say it's
Now, you said on things that you did wrong. Do you see it as regret or just the lessons were learned and that's all there is to it? You've learned it and you've moved on from there.
yeah. I mean, it's part of the process, right?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily regret it. I might cringe. you know, some things you think about or you look back on and you're like, oh Lord. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't regret it. It's all part of the process. I think honestly, I think my biggest strength in life is that I'm not scared to fail. And I'm not scared to fail in front of people.
That's huge. That is
Hate
huge.
it, don't get me wrong. I don't
Yeah.
enjoy it. But you know what I mean? In a lot of things in my life, I had to be willing to risk failing in front of people and learn in front of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if you're willing to be the worst at something, you could be the best.
You could
But
be
you
the
can't be the best
best.
if you're not willing to
Yeah.
start as the worst.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say that it's the learning part, right? A lot of people get stuck on the failure and not realize that there was still a lesson in there anyways. And a lot of those times it's those scenarios that get you to the success that you're supposed to get to. But if you don't have that failure or disappointment or whatever, you won't be able to get there. But you don't always see that in every obstacle that you're going through. It's not until after that you end up seeing that. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I think
So go
failure
ahead.
is kind of like failure is like the real gatekeeper.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Because if you try something and you fail and you give up, then it wasn't for you.
true.
Because there's things I've tried and I failed at it, and I tried ice skating and I failed and immediately knew I would never do this again.
No,
You know what I mean?
those class trips where you went ice skating and yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was just sitting in the the rink.
The
I was
rink,
just
yeah,
sitting there with
yeah.
my jacket on and freeze and wait for them.
Now, I saw a post where you went roller skating the other day. Roller skating and ice skating is not that far apart from each other, minus the cold part and the ice part.
Listen, roller skating, you got four wheels under each foot, and the wheels are like boom, 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 boom at the corners. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah, yeah.
got this one thin little blade right down the middle.
So, did you ever rollerblade?
Yeah, after roller skating, I
You did the
rollerbladed.
rollerblading. See, I never did the rollerblading. I did the roller skating, I did the ice skating, but the rollerblading, there's something about the brake at the back or something. There's something about it that said this is not for you. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm with you. Like I can rollerblade. I much prefer roller skating to rollerblading any day.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I mentioned soul controllers. Let me hydrate. And I briefly mentioned radio when I mentioned master plan. Can you
Right.
tell me the journey of how you got there? Because that is an icon in Toronto. Those of you who don't know, um, if you want to walk them through the history of it, because I just know that is definitely when I think about Toronto music, and many people,
Mm.
I would say I would class it as that was underground music. That was really more my mainstream.
Yeah, I think. Well, Soul Controllers was a song crew that was first established by Power and DTS. So anytime I talk about Soul Controllers predates J Wyze being in Soul Controllers, right? So
Yes.
Power
Yeah. Yeah.
DTS, um, and then they had a lot of people around through the years, Motion, Tyson,
Yeah.
a lot of different people who came and
Did
dealt
their
with different
thing.
things on the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I knew about Soul Controllers long before I was ever a part of it, and of course the Master Plan Show 89.5. You had John Bronte and DTS and Power and Jazzy Motion, a whole host of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So both of those are like Toronto institutions, hip hop wise and musically, and both
Definitely.
of those were around before me. And then one day I was living I want to say I was living by Jane and Warner those times, and I got this link from Power, and Power was like, "Yo, we're looking for a new MC to be a part of Soul Controllers. Why don't you come through and talk to us and see if you're interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I was like, to me, it was hype. It's like getting a call from the Raptors. You know what I mean? And like, "Yo, you want to play ball with us?" It's like, hell yeah. So I went through and we talked, and they talked about the sound and what they were doing with it and what they were trying to make happen, and they thought I fit in with it, and so I started learning. A lot of nights, a lot of shows where we would go and do a performance, and they would be playing. I'll be on the mic, and they recorded everything. So on the ride home, I remember coming home from Windsor one time, and they're playing the recording of the dance, and I was so bad. You know what I mean? And we're listening to it on the way there to say, "Yeah, that's what you do. Oh yeah, that's what you do."
Oh, so you were getting a whole critique the whole way home.
The whole way home,
Wow.
it was like school. You know what I mean? And I would say it took maybe a good year and a half before I really felt like I was
Comfortable.
doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going in the right direction. And yeah, we just kept doing it. Just seemed to keep getting bigger and bigger.
But you didn't quit, and that's the main thing.
Nah.
Yeah, quitting wasn't it. Quitting wasn't it. I still have a collection of CDs, actually. I think I have a chunk of the masters from the live and direct, and
Yeah.
just all of the different volumes over the years. I still have a cassette tape, And it was the one thing I always look back on now, having that collection, is how much history is sitting in Toronto music.
For real.
Hip hop for sure, but just Toronto music in general. It just seems like it really is underrated. And it wasn't until, um, I'm not trying to get controversial or anything, but you have folks like Drake who has made it extra, extra big. But then you have
Hmm.
all of the artists before that. When I think of Solitaire, when I think of Cardi, when I think of
My,
Maestro Fresh
yep.
West, when I think of the whole Northern Touch crew. Like when I think of
Hmm.
all of the artists that were on that song, Thrust and everybody, right? There's a whole bunch of artists that are out there that have done something, but it just can't, it doesn't get the light. And it seems like, and I was saying this in another conversation, it seems like if you're not trying to be like the American artist, you
Hmm.
cannot get proper respect and recognition. But we're so unique with our culture that it's like, why would we want to be like anybody else? Right. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think, I guess I'm not, I have a like, because sometimes people are like, you know, this should have been bigger or that should have been bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, man, everything in its time, right? So, because if it wasn't for the people like when you talk about, you know what I mean, and guys,
Sorry,
motion.
you're chipping out a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the mic.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I said, when you talk about people like Thrust and Motion and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, all the people that were around, I think of guys like, Ebony, you know what I mean? Like really taking it back, even before Maestro Bus, you know what I mean? And all of KGB and all the different crews that was out there, right?
Yeah.
Um, when you're the first ones, you're not gonna get that same light. You're
True.
gonna take the licks.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just comes with the territory.
That
But
is true.
you are the first ones. You're the pioneers laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then everybody that comes after is going to benefit. So, when I think of like my cohort, which is like Cardinal, Chaclair, Socrates,
Yeah.
you
Socrates.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
whole, they'll say you had that circle click that really benefited from a lot of the work that the guys before them have put down, you know what I mean? And
Definitely.
then you get the next generation, and then you go until you get the Drake, Tory Lanez, and all the young cats that are running it now, and they all benefited from the structure that was put down before them. So, you get the light that you get when it's your time. And I think if you're smart, you don't get caught up in what other people after you get. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You just focus on what it was for you at that
What it
time.
was for you at the time. Yeah. And know that you built that history and that legacy regardless.
Yeah, and everywhere I go, I get love. You know what I mean? So for me, that's like, why why would I feel bad? You know what I mean?
True.
I,
That
I
is
get love
true.
all over my city. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the blessed thing to me, right?
See, to me, everybody is successful. It just seems like that mainstream expectation, to your point, always seems to be that thing. That is what seems to be measuring people's success, is them hitting the top charts. When you
Hmm.
think about some of these underground jams that I know we've all been to, whether you're here in Toronto or you're elsewhere around, North America, the world, you all have your hometown artists that are bigger to you than the mainstream artists because of how they represent home and how they carry themselves and the talent that they bring and the respect that they're bringing for that area, right? So I think that that's definitely huge. That's huge.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think too, like when you look at like, when I look at Drake's success,
Yeah.
I feel good about it. I feel good that what happened in Toronto could lead to one of our artists being the biggest artist in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, that's how I see it. It's probably, maybe rose-colored view of it, but
It's a good way to look at it though, right? Like, because a lot of people, I mean, the whole conversation of hip hop, I don't think we'll spiral into that because that's a whole conversation within itself. Hip hop back then and hip hop today is very different hip hop.
oh yeah.
But it's all evolved from to where it is now and to where it's going to continue to get to, right? So I think for me, I know, like, yeah, I'll say I definitely fangirl on the whole Drake. I think it's huge. I think it's big when you think of Aubrey in the wheelchair in Degrassi High to what he's established and what he's accomplished. A lot of people don't even try to get out of their bed and even make it to even being the Aubrey in the wheelchair, right? Like they're not
Right.
even trying. And he didn't stop. He just kept on going. Cosmic Love, welcome in, welcome in. Symbolic 360, welcome in. Anybody else who I've not said hello to, I apologize. We are in conversation with J Wyze and myself, Tap the Soul. And we're just having a conversation about J Wyze's journey, and we just kind of spiraled here and there talking about the music.
Yeah.
Apple, if you can give Cosmic Lab a shout out, formerly known as Simply Patty, that would be absolutely awesome. Um, so you've also been a part of a couple of groups as we're talking about it, and a lot of people don't know or may not be aware of some of those groups. Do you want to share some of those? Because you mentioned Caller earlier, and I'd love to hear some of those other groups. How did they come to be? What was that journey? What was that path that got you involved with these different artists to create these groups?
So yeah, Crown of Thorns is a group I was a part of.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and that was myself, Color Brown, Eclipse from Hamilton. And that was pretty much just DTS. DTS, who still does the Mastermind Show, which is the longest running hip hop show in North America, longest
Yep.
continuous running hip hop show in North America, right? So it's like 30 something years. We all knew DTS separately. And he would always tell me for years and years, yo, there's a couple guys that when the time is right, I'm gonna pick them. And after a while, I kind of was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then one day he's like, yo, come, we're gonna go to this studio. And I was like, okay, dope. And we went, and it was Color Brown Studio. I met him, and I met Eclipse, and we were all just there. And after a few times linking together, we just kind of were a group. I can't tell you exactly how it happened, but yeah, we just kept linking and making music. We all came to work on separate projects, and we ended up making projects together. And then after a while, Eclipse was more focused on his visual art. No, Eclipse is a master
He's
visual
crazy
art.
talented.
As is
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Both of those guys are visual art. And yeah, Eclipse, he's in Hamilton too, so he was more focused on that time on dealing with some of his visual art. So Color and I formed a smaller group, just him and myself, called Sevens. Um, and I was just, him, of course, in each of these is a foundation piece, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as a DJ, so yeah, that was that. And later on, we started linking with a cat named New Breed MC and another younger cat named Drip Davis, and together we did a project called Travelers OCD, which is Travelers of Caribbean Descent. And yeah, those are groups I've been a part of.
When you look at your catalog of work and you reflect back, and I know your journey is far from over, um, are there pieces of it that you would like to pick apart and put a different piece together for this next era of your journey?
That's a good question. I think it's more everything I'm doing now. It's built on everything I learned from all of those things.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's not so much, I guess, picking apart techniques,
Yeah.
but other than that, it's just applying everything that I've learned. And I feel like if you do something continuously for X amount of years and you still do it the same way as when you started, then it's a waste of time, right? You didn't learn it.
Yeah. You didn't
So
grow. Yeah.
exactly. So just trying to use everything that I've learned from all of my experiences and be better.
Nice. Nice. Now, we talked about music.
Mm.
When I went snooping, I
Mhm.
realized that you do a lot of community stuff out there. Um, do you mind if we shift gears and can you share some of that? Because you seem to work with a lot of youth out there. And as I was reading and Googling,
Mhm.
I was just like, I felt like I didn't even know who you were. I'm just like, who's this person? Like, I knew bits and pieces. JCap, welcome in, welcome in. But it just felt like I learned a whole other side of you. Um, and you've been doing this for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you work. It's just something that kind of happened. I started pretty young, like when I was a youth myself, and I just have continued on throughout the years. So I started out doing this thing called the mobilizer, which was like a mobile information and referral center, and we would just park up in the hood of the West End and just be there for days or sometimes weeks. We would just move from spot to spot, you know. So one day we'd be in Lawrence Heights, next day we'd be in Village, next day we might be in Falstaff, Eglinton, you know, wherever, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I did that for a lot of years, and then I started working at out of George Harvey, which is a school on Keel Street, still in the West. Was doing some work there with oh man, I can't remember the name of the place now, but working with Kevin, some of his people, and then I started working at Flow. So then all of the community work I was doing during those years was more just like, you know, going to spots and talking to kids and hanging out. And then after that, became a youth outreach worker, a provincial youth outreach worker, which is basically just at my catchment area, Jane and Finch. And then, yeah, just, you know, being out in different spots on the road, meeting people and trying to help them get connected to the resources that they need.
So when you're working with the kids, so Karen Graham's saying that she went to Memo, but big up to Harvey still. Okay, so you have a couple of the Toronto people, you know, yeah, Apple Blossom dropping in, or Keelan Eglinton up inside here.
Bam, bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam.
I tell to the community, yeah. When I'm thinking about you working with the kids, the reason why I wanted to touch on that, because I think a lot of us have a lot of valuable lessons that we can teach the kids and nurture the kids on how we got from point A to point B. And when I was doing, yeah, you know, JCAP, my youth outreach partner saved me as a teen. And that's exactly where I was going to go with the question and the dialogue. Do you feel pressure in how you're interacting with the kids, knowing that you are an influence to them, helping them survive whatever they're going through? Because not every child has a bad upbringing in their environment, right?
Yeah, no, not really. Because at the end of the day, like I would push back a little and just say, as a youth outreach worker, you help people that are already trying to help themselves to a
Okay.
degree.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't matter how much youth work experience you have or how much skills you think you have or how much you think you know, if the youth involved isn't trying to do something else, it won't happen.
True.
Whatever you're trying. So at the end of the day, the youth really save themselves. All that we do is get them some resources along the way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah. They just
They just
whoever
need the
out there
assurance and a little
a
push.
little
Apple
push.
Blossom. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically what it is. You know what I mean? So even a brother who said his youth worker saved them, he had as much to do with saving himself as his youth worker did. You know, I never, for me personally, I never think I saved any youths. I just think that some youths I assistance, which was my job anyways,
Yeah.
along the way.
You're
You know what
chipping out again, hun. I don't know if I think you might have to get closer to the mic. I'm not sure. You're using you're on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. It's every once in a while it's chipping out, but you're still here. You're still here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you know, it's interesting when I think about the random message I'll get from this what I'm doing, and somebody will send me a message, and I'm just here having a conversation and going through my own life journey and sharing what I'm learning. But sometimes I do feel that little bit of, ooh, I got to be extra careful, because people are helping themselves and you want to help them, but you have to figure out how far do you help them. But I'm talking about adults. When you're talking about youth, sometimes they really just need that bigger person out there. You know, they just need J Wyze, who they hear on our radio, like Flo. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Just saying, you know, like, hey, keep going. This is what my story is. This is how I can help you. This is how you help yourself. And sometimes they just need to hear that. They don't even need like a heavy lift. They just need like that little, that, as you know, as Apple said, that little push.
Yeah, I think a lot of too, some of the barriers that is is like dealing with, especially like dealing with the government or dealing with people in offices, or you know what I mean, people who seem like they have their stuff together. As a youth, you go into a place, people are looking at you like, oh, what do you want? You know what I mean? And I think sometimes just having somebody deal with you, like, they don't watch that, and you're here for what you're here for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And makes a lot of difference. And yeah, you know what? You know what I mean? I'm grateful when it's the impact. You know what I mean? But I really don't feel like yeah, I generally don't feel pressure so much. I just feel a desire
A desire to be, said it again.
to be useful.
Yeah. 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 I've been saying that I always say that I'm not lost to be found, and that every day we wake up, we're living our purpose. We don't even have to know what our purpose is, where it's a paragraph and this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to, but just being alive and doing what you're doing, you don't know how you're touching people. And that could just simply be holding the door open for somebody who's trying to get through the door with their groceries, right? Like that's a purpose for somebody to get through, to make their life easier. Sometimes we overcomplicate it. But I think it's important, Jam Fam, welcome in. I think it's important that people hear how much we can help, even the littlest of ways. But it's just, for me, I was just like, I know that I've seen you post stuff about working with youth, but I didn't realize the depth of which you were doing it until I had to go, fasten your business on Google. You know,
I
Google's a
think too,
thing.
I think too, like you wanna do things from a place of you know what I mean, just doing it because that's what you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I try not to spend a lot of time. I would rather, to be honest, I'm way more comfortable talking about music or books I've written or something like that
Yeah, yeah,
than
yeah.
talking about this stuff, because to me it's like, well, this stuff is the stuff that I do. You know what I mean? That what's that they say? You rent for being on earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. DH Lady, welcome in, welcome in. Those of you who are just joining, we are in conversation with J Wyze and myself, Tap the Soul, just having a conversation and chat and catching up. You talked about flow. You talked about the book. I was actually going to pull up the book. I don't remember where I put it. I'm like painting, so I've moved stuff all over the place, but the book is not far away from me. You should have a
Mhm.
copy of it to be putting up on the screen yourself, sir, by the
I
way.
do.
Oh, you do?
I,
That's good. That's good,
yeah,
because
I've
I
got
want to
one.
know when's the next one coming. So before we talk about the book, your journey to flow, share with us. Tell us how that came to be.
Okay, so we talked a bit about soul controllers.
Yeah.
So I'll say it straight. Without soul controllers, I would never have been on.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a straight line. Started working with soul controllers. Started volunteering on the master plan show, and there was another thing, internet radio on this station called, this site called Illinois.
Wow. Oh, wow. I forgot
I
about
remember
that.
that. Yeah. So I was basically volunteering on the master plan show, doing stuff like carrying the crate records upstairs, writing down people who wanted to do shout outs, basically like paying my dues stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
I graduated to reading flyers and graduated to hosting. And so when Flow came to town and they were asking for, you know, air check tape, which is basically snippets of you on air doing the shows,
Yeah, yeah.
because of the master plan, I actually had stuff to make
To
snippets,
work with. Yeah, yeah.
right? I put together my tape with help from DTS and Power, and I remember that was the time I was still at George Harvey, and one of the ladies I was working with drove me downtown to drop off my tape on the last day to get it in. And I did, and I got a call, and they were like, "Hey, come in for an audition." I went to the audition, like 3 rounds of it. The first was like, I think like we was reading in a room, and then the second one was reading in a mic, like just doing little bits in a mic. Tell you, okay, I want you to do this, introduce this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the third round, they asked me to studio. And yeah, they kept calling me. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna put you on a show." So I feel like a dummy. I thought, "Oh, wow, I got my own show." You know what I mean? And then they were like, "Yeah, you know, you're gonna be a partner." Okay, okay, cool. And then they were like, "Yeah, your partner's the lead host and you're the co-host." And I was like, "Oh." But it worked out perfect, man. It was a perfect experience. DJ X was the person I was, and they were right. Make him the lead host and me the co-host at that time. He had way more radio experience than me. He was way more polished, and I learned a lot just in those early days. And we did a show called the Trauma Unit,
Yeah.
and yeah, we did the evening. I was there for pretty much about 10 years.
Wow. So you learned a lot in that 10-year run.
Yeah, yeah. I learned about biz. I learned about radio, and I learned about biz. You know what I
Would you do
mean?
it again? You did a guest spot there the other day, right? I think I
I was
missed it. Or you there
I wasn't guest host. I was just a guest.
guest? Ah,
Yeah, so you know,
yeah.
yeah, so I did that. Would I do it again? Like if I had it to do over, you mean? Or like
Yeah.
would I? And no.
Would you do it again now? Yeah. Would you do it again now?
The money would have to be really good.
Do you see radio the same? That's why I'm asking the question, I think, too, because I know for me, I don't listen to radio. I forget half the time that even like, some of the DJs, like Skits has his 105.5 show and stuff like that, which I used to listen to all the time. But
Right. I got
between
you.
Flow and 98.7 taking over BLK, there's always been that thing where BLK didn't seem to, that BLK kind of left. Our radio stations lasted, but now with everything going on, it just feels like radio isn't as strong in my view. But I don't know if other people have that same opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. If I see radio different, well, I learned the difference between commercial radio and community radio,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think for a lot of people, especially black people in the city, because community radio is where we always got our music, because commercial radio wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So we got very accustomed to community radio format. And then going to commercial radio, I expected it was going to be like community radio. You know what I mean? Then I learned there's a huge difference between commercial and community radio. So that changed the way I looked at radio, just in terms because I had a different understanding of the difference between the two. So when I listen to community radio, I have a different ear than commercial radio. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because if you listen to one with the ear of the other, expecting what you got from the other, you will be disappointed.
You
No
will
matter
be.
from two, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I learned about commercial radio, how it's different, and it's definitely a different. It's almost like, you know what I mean, playing tennis on grass or on the court. It's seems like it's actually a different game.
Very different.
I mean,
And navigating through, I'm sure, is very different as well. I just found listening to commercial radio, um, there is a difference where there's like expectation on rotation of songs. Right. So
yeah,
you hear a lot of folks will be complaining, oh, I have to hear the same song every hour. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't get that in community radio. You get so much new music and different types of music that it's almost like you're getting overdosed with new music that you can't keep up. But then you can't necessarily find it either. Right. Like you
well,
can't find it on the Spotify's and the Apples.
check it out. So it's the difference. Imagine you a show once a week for 2 hours. So you do a show once a week for 2 hours. You play all the new music.
Yeah.
Okay, bam. Now imagine doing a show 5 days a week for 4 or 5 hours. Totally different ballgame.
Very different ball game.
I
Yeah.
mean, and then with community radio, when you tune in for a show. So let's say you tune in for the master plan. No, that's 8 to 10 Saturday night. Okay. So boom, you're tuned in for those 2 hours, and the people programming the show program it to you to be listening for 2 hours. Commercial radio, they expect you to be listening when you're in your car, when you're at work.
Yeah.
So they're not expecting listening all day or for 2 or 3 hours continuously. They're expecting that for 15 minutes here, hour there, 20 minutes here,
True. That's
while you
true.
drive
That's true. Yeah.
in work, right?
Yeah.
So the way they program, they know in their mind they're thinking, okay, when you turn on that radio, we want you to hear your favorite song. So let's say your favorite song is Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. So they're gonna program where they're gonna say, okay, we want listeners to hear Marvin Gaye, What's Going On as soon as they turn on the radio. So we're gonna program run every hour at the top of the hour. That way, when people tune in, there's a good chance they're
They're
gonna
gonna
hear
hear their song.
that song that they tuned into.
Yeah.
But if you're listening for 2 hours straight,
You're
you don't heard
hearing
Marvin Gaye, What's Going On 4 times. You know what I mean? You're pulling your hair out. You're like, I like this song, but
not that much. Yeah. Not that much. That is a very good point. See,
that's
and
just
you're even educating me when I think about this now, because yeah, I'm that person that's sitting there where I turn on the radio, and because I'm used to community radio where I know there's always a different something coming. It's not usually repetition, but then you get to commercial radio and you're just like, yeah, totally makes sense now.
you know what I mean? And it's just the whole science of the way. And that's just like me giving a little snippet of some of the philosophies of programming. So, and then you just learn it's really different. You know what I mean? And in commercial radio, community radio, you can open the mic and talk for as long as you need to get whatever point you're saying across.
Yeah.
And talking to a specific set of people who came to hear that type of talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas commercial radio, you're talking to a very wide berth, and they mostly are there for not you.
True. That is true.
So where you might have 5 minutes to talk on community radio, you'll have 15 seconds to talk on commercial radio.
And still make the same impact.
Yeah. Still make an impact. It won't be the same, but you still got to make an impact.
Yeah.
And the impact is about how you make people feel for those 15 seconds in between their favorite song.
Wow. Yeah. The business of commercial radio. I'm actually seeing it in a whole different light, because this just that little walkthrough on the Marvin Gaye, I'm thinking, yeah, it actually makes sense. You know, here I am just hating on it. But yeah, and T.E. Dennis's point of also commercial radio is more popular music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because
that's
remember,
what's paying for everything too, right?
And with commercial radio, you're trying to get the widest net possible. So if I play Pharoah Monch on community radio, the hip hop head's gonna love it because Pharoah Monch is amazing.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody who kind of likes rap, but it's not really into hip hop deep like that, they would rather hear something that is more attuned to their taste, right?
Yeah.
But if I play, if I play, let's say, I don't know, whoever is big at the time, you know what I mean? Then you're gonna catch the person who really likes the underground stuff. They'll hang around for it and deal with it.
Yeah.
And all people, you'll catch them as well. So it's a much wider net.
That is true. That is true. Little Wyze, welcome in. We're in conversation with J Wyze. So I think when you mentioned that too, that brings me back to Master Plan, because my appreciation of Master Plan and my introduction into Power was the remixes. Like, I'm a hip hop head, but when you start remixing hip hop and reggae the way he was doing it, I remember I called into the show and I was like, who just did that? Because I was just like, you don't hear that in a regular dance when you go out. But the Master Plan gave you that level of diversity and creativity where it really it challenged you to really appreciate music, where you could hear pretty much anything. You're hearing hip hop, but you could be getting anything and everything, and you really have to appreciate the music to understand it. But yeah, I have to say that Saturday vibe, and then there's a few folks like Drill Squad on Fridays. They like, that's some iconic educational music, and not just hip hop, mainly hip hop, but there's some other genres in there as well, but mainly the hip hop and the creativity. Yeah.
I remember too, hip hop is a genre that is supposed to include all genres.
It is. It is.
That's the basis of all he created, our breakbeat, soul, jazz, dancehall. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? With the right attitude, all part of hip hop.
It is. I find here on Twitch, those of you who are here on Twitch, a lot of the DJs get put into a bucket where if they play dancehall and reggae, then they're playing dancehall and reggae. Like if they start playing hip hop or if they start playing R&B, the crowd seems to be really specific of what they expect from certain DJs. And it's interesting because it's all the same pot. Like it's all coming from the same place at the end of the day. And I guess it's normal behavior, but it would just be nice if people appreciated all of the genres equally to allow them all to thrive.
Well, I mean, we all have what we like, but I think one of the blessings of being being a Toronto kid growing up and listening to music in Toronto is that, I mean, especially in the West, you go to a dance hall or the Latvian center or the Ukrainian center, wherever they were able to book a venue, and you were gonna hear everything.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear some hip hop, you're gonna hear some R&B, you're gonna hear some dancehall, you're gonna hear some reggae, you're gonna hear some folk.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear all Toronto DJs tend to be able everything.
Yeah.
Ones that like you could take a Toronto soca DJ, tell him to play a hip hop set, he can probably play it. You know what I mean? And then when you Toronto, you not like everywhere, but we're such a mixed cultures, us, and even such black culture that that's how we grew up. The reggae meets the dancehall, which was a key component of soul controllers. You know what I mean? And R&B just innovative with that. You know what I mean? But in other cities, like Toronto, you also see it, right? So got guys in New York similar styles. And you had crew there from Miami that had a similar style, because those are also like cities where you got a lot of Caribbean people in a space, North American. You get that blend.
Definitely. So between the music, being a radio host, working with youth, along the way, I know you've done spoken word, which ties into that, but you've also written a book or few. What made you decide to put pen to paper?
Well, writing, I guess, is the foundation of everything.
Everything, yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's hip hop, poetry. I mean, even when I did spoken word, I would literally start by just going and saying hip hop verses I had. I would just say them. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't until I started writing poems that were actually just poems. But writing the book, I just had I've always written like short stories, and then one day I just had this idea, and I said, I want to write a novel.
Do you have it close by?
Yeah. Hold on, I can get one.
Okay, good.
Real quick, I'll take you guys. We're going into the basement.
Hopefully the connection's still good. We should still be good there, right?
Yeah, we're not staying anyways. We're just going to grab. Oh, I thought I had one there. Somebody took it up. Now we're going into the basement.
Going on a journey.
Right? Just grab one of these real quick.
For those of you here in the chat, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And please make sure that you remember to hydrate. We are in conversation with J Wyze, and he is about to show us his book. And now this book is, listen, I remember the picture I took at your signing. That was a long time ago for me, a long time ago. I've been waiting for the follow-up to this. DJ Pano Vibe, welcome in.
So this is a novel where eagles crawl and men fly.
Yes.
And it's about a man who lived a pretty rough life, and that he's done a lot of bad in, and he decides that he wants to get away from it and start again. And he goes to this new place to start again, but he didn't take into account the fact that places have their own histories and their own things going on. So his fresh start ended up being in the midst of a place about to go through somewhat of a revolution. And so the book is just about his experiences trying to find himself in this wild country where it's in the midst of its own turmoil.
But you chose a path. You didn't just write a regular book, right? Like you chose, is it science fiction? Is that the best way to classify it?
Yeah, I've been told it's a surrealist,
Surrealist. Yeah, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not your typical Bob had a rough life and went to the city of, Dakota and decided to, he's in the middle of a revolution war. Like you had some really dynamic storytelling that was happening. Because I remember there's a couple of times I had to read pages a few times. I was like, wait, what? Because I had to take my mindset that this is not human life,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not your typical everyday human life. It is a very different world. And once you fell into that world, like I fell into it and then I was still learning along the way. But I remember reading it again. And the second time I read it, I learned more than I did from the first time. But it
Mm.
really takes you through a journey. Like I can visually see it. And yeah, I'm gonna go there because I kind of wanted to ask that many years ago, and I'm waiting. Part one: is there a follow up to this book coming?
Okay. So to go back to I haven't written it. The book that I'm working on right now, that I'm finishing up right now, is it takes you to a totally different world. But I've had so many people talk to me over the years, basically say that I am gonna write another book set in this universe, just not with those characters.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, and I'm kind of crafting it right now. But the
Okay.
book I'm working on right now, is taking on this book is taking on the theme of redemption for people and places. And is it possible? You know what I mean? Like, is it
Interesting.
possible to redeem yourself, really and truly, or do some stains to stay on you?
I, mm, I
And that's
think some stains have to stay on forever. It's always. I think it's always dependent on people and circumstance, right?
mm, like
Yeah.
if you do something really hard and then you spend the rest of your life doing amazing, great,
Does it cancel it out?
do you get redemption? Does it balance? Does what? So
Depending on who's looking at it is probably one of those things, right? Because somebody will look at it and be like, okay, but they did that one thing and they spent the next 20 years trying to, not even that they're focusing on trying to redeem themselves because of the one thing. They just spent a life of good, and you're hoping that it overall it cancels out that thing. Some people will have a different heart and be like, yeah, yeah, everybody deserves that second chance, that opportunity. You can wipe the slate clean and start again. And others could be from Pettyville and be like, yeah, nah, that one thing is gonna stick. It probably
well,
depends on how deep and how the degree of the stain
mm-hmm.
and the impact to whoever it is will determine whether that redemption is possible.
But what about just within yourself? Let's
That's
forget
even
about,
harder.
yeah,
That's
about
woo.
if other people forgive you, or but if you know you did something really terrible, you know
Yeah.
it's,
Yep.
can you redeem that even with yourself? And that's the question of that book.
That's interesting because that's I think that's a part of, I will say for me right now, part of my life journey. I've spent a lot of time in reflection, right? Like I hit 50 the other day, which doesn't even sound right when I say this. I'm sitting here thinking, yo, we go way back. But when I think of some of the things I've done, maybe not even because I was intentionally trying to be bad,
Mm-hmm.
but when certain things have happened and you realize the impact on other people, yeah, it's that forgiveness of self, right? Can
Mm-hmm.
you forgive yourself for what you did, whether it was intentional or not? That's a hard one. That is a hard one, and it's scenario to scenario as well, right? Definitely scenario to scenario. T.E. Dennis said it best. That's between you and your God. And T.E. Dennis, I'll tell you, there's I've got a skeleton or two in my closet where I'm just like, yo, I don't even want God to talk to me about it. Let's just poof. Let's just pretend we did not see it, hear it. Team Bless, welcome in DJ Blair or Mike. I'm not sure which one or both. Welcome in, welcome in. And I think that's something that some people carry, that where it eats us alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It eats you alive and you don't actually grow or learn from it because you're paying so much attention trying to redeem yourself about the thing that you did or who
Mhm.
you hurt or whatever the scenario is. Yeah, yeah,
And I think the main character of that book, that's what he was. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Is it possible, and what does it take? And then also the place itself was going through its own kind of, because at the same time, like, okay, let's take a country like America or Canada,
yeah,
right? Founded on things that were really, genocide, slavery. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Now, can the country itself and still be itself?
Ugh. They have to accept that they did the wrong to begin with, and I think that's something that a lot of people try to excuse themselves out of, right?
And then to redeem yourself, do you have to, as a country or as a nation, do you have to, can you still be, or
Can
do
you
you
still
have to,
be yourself? Yeah.
you
Mm.
know what I mean? And these are not questions answered in the book, but these are the questions that are struggled with in the book.
Yeah.
But the next book, the one I'm working on now, is dealing with a different type of thing, and it's dealing with, especially when it comes to men, isolation
Mm.
and the lives we live and the lives we're programmed to live that leads to that isolation in our later years. Because I read somewhere, it really struck a chord with me, that the number one issue that older black men said that they were dealing with was loneliness.
Mm. Mm.
And then I looked, you've just my own, looked at how many men that are clearly like their lives, especially when they get older.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, what type of lives have we led as men to lead us to these places in our older years?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's working on a story about these three guys who've all done some pretty uh, incredible stuff in their lives, and are now at a place where they kind of come, but they're all dealing with stuff from their past and battling the isolation.
Yeah. We're getting a little bit of static again. Sorry. Probably. I think it's probably when you move away from your phone is picking up maybe some other background noise.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah. So
Close.
when you
Overwhelming y'all with my face.
it's okay to overwhelm us with your face. So when is that? No, I don't want to ask that yet. So my part one to the book before was asking as if there is a part two, a follow up coming. And then the other part to it is, do you ever see yourself creating a screenplay, a movie, anything like that? And because as I said, when I'm reading it, I can see it start to materialize in front of me. The scenery is coming to life, my version of it, right?
We're
Mish,
trying.
welcome in.
I've been years now trying to create a theory based on it. And there's been times when I've been really close, and times where I felt further away, but we still working on it, and that's the ultimate goal
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
project specifically. I see it as a series, like probably a limited series, maybe like 7 or 8 episodes,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah,
I hope so. I
yeah,
got my fingers crossed because
we work.
I think the fact that it's not your typical it's not a typical book, it's not a typical read, but it still has a message behind it. I think people seeing the creativity and the diversity of us and what we
Mm,
can put out there, right? Everybody's expecting us to be the Zanes, the Eric Jerome Dickies, the Sister Soldiers, and whoever else out there. And I'm definitely not knocking them because I have a whole bunch of their books sitting on my bookshelf. But the fact that you can take it to a different view and a different concept, again, it's tying back to my commentary about exploring the dynamics of mixing hip hop and reggae, right? Like this, if you can really explore and be creative like that, see a different angle, challenge your mind, right? So a lot of folks don't do sci-fi, the surrealist. They stick with the same everyday regular.
well, for me, it just came down to, I love science. I love fantasy books. I read them all the time,
Yeah.
and to a point where it's like, oh, I don't mind to have black people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And there's some great black science fiction writers, black fantasy writers. I mean, Octavia Butler,
Octavia Butler. I was just thinking about her parables book. Yeah, 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 yeah,
like she's like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
The,
What's
the kind
interesting
of
too
God
is that
that,
I didn't realize that that's what she was. I picked up the book, I bought it, and I started reading it. And page one, I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is different." But you don't expect that, right?
but it's just I'm actually part of the tradition. It's not something new. You know what I mean? We've always had these stories. You know what I mean? If you look back to the oldest stories, that's what they were. You look at the Nancy story, those things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Those are
yeah.
surrealist fantasy stories. You know what I mean? Where the animals act like us, act like black people. You know what I'm saying? Move like us, talk like us, and you know what I mean? I just want to bring that. You know, I don't use animals. You know what I mean? I just to bring that kind of
Concept over. Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't do it on purpose. Like, oh, I want to write a black fantasy book. I just want to write a fantasy book, and I'm black, so my
It made
people. You know
sense.
what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it made sense. So the new book that you're working on now, when is it coming out? Do you have a scheduled release date that we should be looking forward to seeing it on the shelves?
No, but I do have scheduled date for rough draft.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, and I'll say it, y'all can hold me accountable as well. I want it to be by June, at least the rough draft.
By June when?
June of next. Oh, not June. Sorry, I was gonna say. I realize we're in 2024 now.
We
June
we
of
are in 2024. Yes, yes, yes.
2024 is the date I'm aiming for to have a rough draft.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So I'm gonna make sure that if I don't see something posted somewhere that I'm gonna be harassing like, yo, where is it? Where is it?
Anybody who's taking the chat and is interested in holding me accountable, I welcome the accountability.
Now, throughout the chat, Apple, my mod partner in crime here, has been dropping exclamation mark JW. Those of you who are trying to figure out how do you keep in touch, where do you find him, within exclamation mark JW, you will see his YouTube page, as well as the page that you can find his song and his music. He's got a new song out right now. Thank you very much, Apple, because my phone is like locked. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to put this back up on the screen. Wow, when I look at your picture and I'm looking at this image that I have here,
Well,
Carnival of Souls. Yeah, yeah, that is quite the artistry. What made you go this path for the artwork for this album, the concept behind it?
okay, so first I gotta say the photographer's name is Jelani Morgan. And I is a brother, great photographer, great artist, somebody that we've been waiting to work with each other for a while. So when I finished the album and we're thinking about covers, I thought, you know what, this is the time. So big up to Jelani, took the photo. Secondly, gotta big up Elle St. Aubin. She's the makeup artist, and she usually does more of a glam style makeup, and she does movie sets, TV shows, and like both her or Jelani Morgan, none of them needed me for this gig. You know what I mean? So I give thanks for I give thanks for oh, thank you for downloading. I appreciate that. But I give thanks to Jelani Morgan and El St. Aubin for even taking up, but they didn't need it. So that's who did the makeup and that's who did the photograph. The album is called Carnival of Souls, and it's basically the first song basically welcomes you into the carnival and lets you know that there will be a number of souls coming on display for your entertainment. And that's the concept. Every song is basically a soul on display for your listening and viewing. And one of the, I guess, the main character of the album, even though it's not really a character, but the main idea of the album is this ringleader and who's introducing you to the first song. And so one thing Jelani Morgan, he said, I want you to come up with a name for this ringleader so that we know what it is we're dealing with. And so, I did that. We talked about it, came up with the image, and I went and Ringmaster, and then L King did the dope mix. If you watch the video, daughter anime, the eye action.
That was creepy. I have to say, I was not expecting it. So when you posted it and I went looking for it, and I was just like, wait, that did not just. And then I took off my glasses and I'm just like, oh no, it did. Yeah, that was creepy. Yeah, that was absolutely creepy.
Big up daughter on that one. Yeah, she did the animation. Eclipse did the design, and yeah, great people I was working with, and together we collaborated piece of art. And the whole idea was every piece of the album should be collaborative and it should be art.
Nice.
And so yeah, that's how we ended up with that image.
So we have the first single, HIMMM.
Yeah.
Is that you?
What do you mean?
In terms of when I listen to the lyrics of the song.
Oh yeah, that's one of the few songs that's actually totally about me.
Okay. Yeah, I had to ask because you just gave that explanation. I'm thinking, so, are you playing in a character or is that you? Because when I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm thinking, okay. And you made it short enough, like, because I was waiting for another verse. Like, you easily could have dropped in another set into that, but you gave us just enough.
That because it's not the focus of that.
Got it.
This is about me. But I had to have a song about myself on it, and I just found it such a kind of great intro that I thought this was the first single that we put out there.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of bring people in. We're doing the music thing, and also, I kind of had in life that probably a lot of us have, where I don't like to put myself out there sometimes in certain ways. Like, yo, I did that. You know what I mean? And so I've been trying to work on that, and this song was just one of those opportunities for me to say, like, yo, yeah, I'm a guy, do stuff.
Yeah, you are that guy, and yes, you do stuff, which is a beautiful thing. Zenda Princess, welcome in. I know we're kind of going over time. I was saying I wanted to keep it to an hour. I want to be respectful for your time and everybody else who's here. Now I know I talked through a bunch of different areas. Miss Me. Yeah, Shari, she missed me. There's another one, is it Mr. Mention, that I couldn't find anywhere.
What's that, Miss Me?
Yeah, so Shari, I think she found Miss Me. She's probably listening to that right now. So she's probably going through your catalog right about now. But I also found that was a little bit of a challenge for me, to be honest with you, because you had different groups. You were part of Seven, Crown of Thorns. It's hard when you get to Spotify to have it all together. Is there a way that we can find it where it is all together? Is it just like, what's the easiest way for us to see your full catalog?
Apple Music is probably the best in terms of that.
Oh, okay.
Just because if you put on J Wyze, you'll get a whole bunch of stuff I did with different groups and
yeah.
But there's no one place. Bandcamp is a good place to go and get a lot of my earlier stuff.
Okay.
That's pretty much every album. But yeah, it's hard. The group stuff and put it all in one place. But all the J Wyze stuff, all my solo stuff, you can pretty much find in one place on Apple Music. Probably easy.
Yeah.
Spotify. So a lot of my early that were on Spotify are not anymore. Miss Me is one of them on Spotify, but I had a lot of other on Spotify as well that are not there anymore. Now it's pretty much just Miss Me and stuff I've done with
other art. Yeah. I did create a playlist, so I typed in your name. So there's stuff that you have with Kohler Brown and etc. And I was just like pulling. I'm just like, some of them I didn't even know existed. The group you mentioned earlier, and I was just like, okay, this is dope. This is dope. So we've talked about your music, your community work. We've talked about your book. We talked about your radio journey. I can't wait for your series for the next book.
Gotta make it.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to see it. I think that is something that I remember having a conversation with one of the DJs last year. I've been writing And I know I keep saying like you keep saying like you're waiting to see me. Like I've been writing, but I've never been comfortable to actually put it out there. So every time I have a conversation with you or anybody else, I'm just like, I have to start taking my words and actually putting it out there. Now the fact that I'm actually doing this is, yeah, so
This
I'm starting from somewhere.
this
But
is
yeah, it would be nice to see more of our stuff on the screen, knowing that even if it's hometown, it's hometown. But even just internationally, anybody else who's in this stream right about now, those mom and pop shops of creativity are out there. We just need to be able to use these outlets to explore it and share it, right? So, yeah.
and the one thing I would say, work creates. You know what I mean? I've been doing a little I've been in a few development TV, doing a little bit of TV writing, and I would never have that if I didn't put up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just got the opportunity to flow if I never was a part of Soul Controllers and
Soul
volunteer.
controllers. Yeah.
So the one thing I learned in my life, work creates work, and that sometimes the best thing you can do is just create a piece of art and put it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I'm working on that.
it
Definitely
helps to
working
lead
on that.
where you're trying to go.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, somebody told me a year ago that I would be in a conversation with you on a mic and a camera as opposed to just sitting on a couch and lavishing at somewhere, dominoes and whatever's going on. I'd be like, yeah, the dominoes, the couch, and a couple of drinks and ting would make more sense with a whole bag of man. But I wouldn't be expecting us to be doing this. So, again, when you put in the work and your purpose, right? It's organically happened this way.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I'm starting 2024 with a conversation with you because I know as much as you are ridiculously humble, you have a really diverse platform of history that can educate others and guide others and motivate and inspire others. And I want to make sure that that was an opportunity that can actually take place
I
between us like
appreciate it.
this.
And
Yeah.
it's inspiring as well. I've been following the journey, and you know what I mean? I had to switch account because of you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, we all build on everything that we do, we build on each other.
Yeah.
We also give each other permission to do more by doing more.
Yeah, yeah. I want people to see me trying. Like everything I do will not be successful. I'm not expecting it to be, but I want to know that I've done something and I've motivated somebody else and I've motivated myself to continue going, right? So even if I'm doing this, yes, Apple Awesome, I will hydrate. Yes, yes, yes. Me doing this just like I recently just as she puts up the command there, I just dropped the podcast officially on Spotify and Apple Music. I've been talking about doing that for the last couple of months, and then I was just like, what do you like, just do it already, like just do it and keep going, right? So yeah,
Salute.
yeah,
Y'all are killing it. Yeah, keep it moving.
yeah, you have to. But I want to wrap this up. Is there anything else that we did not talk about that you want to share now with the folks that are here, and they will catch us on the replay? Because this is actually streaming on both YouTube and on Twitch, so it will be on YouTube. Once I hit end, it's there for people to catch the replay.
You can check me out on Instagram, J Wyze Jelani. That's JWYZEJELANI. I joined TikTok the other day. I think I'm at J Wyze on that, at JWYZE.
Struggling with TikTok, just
Yeah.
TikTok is interesting.
Get used to it. I'm not somebody who spent a lot of time on actually watching stuff, but I've been posting up some videos and kind of slowly getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, reach out to me in those spots, and starting to put together the video for him.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna lean into do something, lean toward doing a style where people can be a part of the video by sending me their photos if they want to be a part of the video. So anybody that feels like they want to be in the video, you know what I mean? We won't have you doing anything crazy or embarrassing. Just if you send a photo and you want to be a part of it, send a photo and we'll get you in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, hit me up on or TikTok. I'm on Twitter as well. I'm on Threads. I'm pretty much at J Wyze on most things, and at J Wyze Jelani on Instagram.
Okay.
And yeah, let's read. I mean, I'm always want to talk to people and hear what y'all talk about, whatever, and let's build.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. If anybody is having any other questions or looking for any other contact information, I will be posting. I am definitely going to be posting this again. Yeah, yo, that's scary still.
Oh, and
Um,
shout out to my man Symbolic, who I think passed through the room. I don't know if
yeah,
he's there,
yeah,
but
he
shout out
passed.
to
He
him.
was on YouTube earlier, I believe.
Yeah, he does a lot of great video stuff with like the 360 videos and stuff like that. So big shout out to him.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. To everybody who reached out to me as well. Yeah, yeah, Symbolic, I see you there. Yeah, everybody who reached out, thank you. And I'm really trying to get people to see this. So I will be posting clips of this. I'm backlogged, but the goal for 2024 is to post more of what's already on YouTube or what I'm putting on YouTube so people can see it. I'm all about community without barriers. So I want people to see these conversations and be interested and go ask you and reach out to whoever else I've spoken to, learn, build, connect, right? Like, it takes one of these conversations for somebody to be like, let me reach out and talk to this man and see if he can educate me or guide me or mentor me. I think that's important for what we need to do amongst our community. So on that pleasant note, I'm going to say thank you once again for being here. It was an honor to be able to sit in the chair and have a conversation with you. We can catch up later on. Hopefully everything is good. Apple, I don't know where we're going because I normally would say figure out where we're going. Apple, if you are still there, can you figure out where we are going to raid out to? J Wyze, can you stay outside of the raid? And then we could just do a wrap up outside of this.
Okay, no,
Maya Youngster, thank you. Symbolic, yeah, yeah. Great segment. Thank for connecting us. Yeah, Symbolic. Anytime, anytime. J Cap, beautiful soul. Yes, I know you're always in these streets recording stuff as well. So everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out J Wyze. Exclamation mark JW. Check him out on Spotify and all of your platforms. Video coming soon. J Wyze, when you drop I don't know if you're gonna do it publicly about looking for people with their pictures. If you put that out there, please feel free to tag me and I will repost it in my channel as well so people can see it to spread the word
will do.
and we can go from there. So Apple, can you please start the raid to go somewhere, anywhere? I am not picky where we go. And I'm going to put, thanks TE Dennis. Everybody who is here, please copy the raid message. The YouTube folks that are here, thank you for being here on YouTube. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, yeah. Good to learn what's going on in the big city. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Apple. Thanks everybody that's participated or took the time to listen. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Love.
yeah, this is dope. So I'm gonna put this beautiful mugshot of yours up while we get ready to raid out, and then when we go off air, I will put us back up, and we won't be on the camera, and we won't be live anymore. So give me a moment.
Nice.
Apple, let me do this, and I'm gonna. How do I do this now? It's a good question. How do I do this? I am trying to figure this out. I usually know what to do. I feel like a newbie right about now. Okay, Apple, can you confirm that we're rating out? Oh, yep, we are rating out. Perfect. Okay, so as soon as I see this go over. Yeah, it's the one thing it's rating out right now. So it's the one thing that I'm trying to figure out, how do I get permission to do? Let me put myself back on screen meanwhile. Being able to play your music and not have YouTube slap me or Twitch. So both of them will ding me if I play anything that is copyrighted music. Which is unfortunate because if I'm having a conversation with you, I should be able to play your music and not be penalized for it. I'm not that big yet. So I got to figure out, how do I do it where I can do it and they know that I have permission to do it, because it would be great for people to have heard your music. I met with another artist a couple months ago and same thing. I should be able to play their music and not have Twitch, put me in timeout or whatever they're gonna want to do, or YouTube will just mute our whole situation or just take my video down, which is
Mm.
silly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we are almost there. I'm just gonna check this volume once again. I'm so glad that we did this. Yeah, to say that this is good that we got a chance to do this. Okay, so I'm going to, I believe I can. Yep, I think I can end the stream here. I think it's saying people are still here. We're going to end the stream here, and if they fell off, they will catch up somewhere else. So you and I will stay on, but we'll end this here. Everybody, peace, love, and blessings.